Sorry for that. Had to continue. My lips were quite papery too. Put a little lip gloss on so they won't be so dry that they, start a fire, girl. But crazy. So he tells us, I'm going to try to go out of town to get them here. And we're like, huh? Does that even make sense? This case is about to be dropped because they're not showing up to press charges. And guess what else? Beyond that, guess who asked for the continuance? That means if this case had just played out, you have a trial, you have just the defendant that shows up, you don't have the quote unquote victims that show up, and boom, gavel hits that desk, and the judge is like, boom, nobody's here, so we have to let it go. Guess who stops it before a trial ends? Who stops it? Marcello's lawyer. Marcello's lawyer files a motion for continuance. Like basically, like Marcello's about to go free. Pause. Before you let him go, let me see. Can I get the two to press charges against my client? What? Okay. So now that part don't make no sense, do it? But guess what I find in this transcript? Well, not the transcript, in the whole case file. This lawyer, so they moved away. He claims that he just found that out the day before, right? So he first asked for the motion to continue. Then after that, he asked for money from the court to travel out of town to subpoena the victims, quote unquote victims, in person. So he can go, who is it? It's Marcello's lawyer. And I'm here to get you to come to trial so you can press charges against my client. Here's your subpoena in person. You no longer can ignore it because I'm here at the door. Subpoena's at the door. It's not a subpoena in the mail. It's a subpoena at the door. You coming to court, right? Now, this is the part that's crazy. So the lawyer, Marcello's lawyer, asks for reimbursement to go out of town. He asked for plane fare. He asked for rental car, hotel. This man asked for meals. He was living like a fat hog. He asked for all of that to be reimbursed for him to go out of town to drag the quote unquote victims to court. Right? Because he had one more shot. Because if that continued trial date had a came, which was only like a month later, he didn't have no more time to send subpoenas out and they not show up. He had to get them there. So he said, if I'm going to get them there, I got to show up to their door. He literally asked for money for this, and the judge granted it. And it says that he asked for it to prepare for defense. Can I do a side eye? Defense? What type of defense you prepare with the quote unquote victims? What defense you preparing? Like, what? And guess what? Court grants it. Granted. But they didn't grant money for Marcello to have surveillance to prove he wasn't there. Marcello wasn't there. But they told us that He can't prove he wasn't there because the surveillance tapes cost too much. But this man, and then it's reimbursement. That means this man came out his pocket and paid out his pocket to go out of town to drag the quote unquote victims to testify against his client. And guess what? The court granted it. So the court paid him back for doing that. Girl, I'm looking at this. This is crazy. Motion for reimbursement for travel costs. The Honorable Court to enter its order for payment for the following. My goodness, this is crazy. The lawyer's name for taking of the victim's deposition in Burlington, Vermont. Do you know how far that is from Orlando, Florida? Girl, the costs are as follows. $474 for round trip airfare. Okay, it says if returned prior to Sunday, March 24th, 2002, the round trip airfare would have been $878. Receipt attached. Okay. Then it says hotel accommodations for March 22nd, 2002 at the rate of $50. The invoice is for the amount of $216. Attorney is only requesting reimbursement in the amount of $50. So hotel, airfare, $39 per meal for meals. 18 at a rate of $18 for March the 22nd, 2002, and $21 for March the 23rd, 2002. Now remember, 2002, this is some money. Like, this man living like a fat hog off of Marchello Jackson's back. Like, girl. The defendant in this case is charged with 2 violations in the state of Florida. Then they put all these charges here. Okay. That the undersigned counsel has been appointed as counsel in above style cause. That incurring the above cause was authorized by this court. Wherefore, the undersigned counsel respectfully requests this honorable court to enter its order for reimbursement for the above amounts. Crazy. And then it says the cause. I'm trying to see where I can. Okay, taking the victim's deposition in Williston, Vermont. Okay, so they both moved to Vermont, but one was Williston and one was in Burlington. That is crazy. And then it has the receipts, the airfare, the airline ticket. Crazy. The rent-a-car. And then it shows granted. It was granted. They paid them back for that. So what I'm trying to figure out, why didn't you pay for the surveillance then? You know what can clear your client. Number one, there's no evidence against Marchello. Crazy, right? He's charged with a weapon. They don't have a weapon. And in my next video, I'm going to show you how there is no weapon. They're just saying a weapon is there so that they could get Marchello more time. There's no proof of a weapon. They don't have a weapon. They didn't bring a weapon to court. They didn't show a weapon. They didn't show a picture of a weapon. They didn't have fingerprints of a weapon. They didn't have GSR. Nothing of a weapon, but they charged him with the weapon. They don't have Marchello's fingerprints, his DNA, nothing. Crazy. And he still gets convicted. So there's no proof against Marchello at all. So in the last video I made, you see where I said the officer, the arrested officer in the case, changed the setting of the crime. So you already got the officers, police working against you. Then you, on top of that, got your own lawyer working against you. And not to mention the DA is already working against you. Girl, Marchello had no chance. And that's why that lawyer told him that. Because the last time that we met with that lawyer asked Marchello, are you going to take the 17 years, the plea? And Marchello was like, 17 years? I can't take 17 years for something I didn't do. Mind you, our daughter was only like 7 months at that time. When he was arrested wrongfully, she was 2 months old. She was about 7 to 8 months old at that point, crawling up that lawyer's leg as we sat in a meeting. And he said, are you going to take the 17 years? And Marchello was like, I cannot take 17 years for something I didn't do. He said, hold on, Marchello, just think of me as your doctor. And what if you had a cancer that was in your arm? And if you didn't cut your arm off, you would die. What type of doctor would I be if I allowed you to go around with that cancer in your arm and you died? He said, Marchello, you have a 5% chance of winning trial. Are you going to take the plea? You need to cut your arm off and take the plea. Are you going to take it? Marchello said, I cannot take 17 years for something I didn't do. His last and final words to Marchello, nothing about preparing a defense. His last words to Marchello was, well, kiss your daughter goodbye. That man knew he had sealed the deal already. This is our justice system. And I know y'all get tired of me asking for help, asking for support. But what if you were in my shoes? What if you were in Marchello's shoes? What if you were in our daughter's shoes? She had to grow up without her father for what? What real reason did she have to grow up without her father? So, girl, I'm telling you, you need to get your loved one's transcripts, his case, and you read through it. Read through it. And make sure everything is copacetic within that case. And if it's not, girl, you fight. You fight. You fight. I'm going to fight till I die. I hope this don't kill me, but I'm going to fight for that man till the day that I die. All right. It's your girl, Cadillac.